Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Paul Brown Show. We're taping live at 2 Expose You Studio. We have Mr. Darrell Goodman. He's the founder. Mr. Ray Harvey, chief engineer. And I have as my special guest, I have Mr. Dr. Addison. And he's running for 6th Congressional seat, South Carolina. How you doing there, Dr. Addison?
Doing pretty good.
Tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Oh, listen, my name is Michael Addison. I'm originally from Hartsville, South Carolina, born in the mid-'60s. And it's interesting I always say that because I actually born right after the Voting Rights Act was passed in August the 6th, 1965.
Okay.
I born in August 21st, 1965. And I bring that up because it's significant. I barely born with the right to vote.
Yes, sir.
And so I went to school in Hartsville, South Carolina, went to elementary school, Sun Vista Elementary, and then on to junior high in Hartsville, and then to the senior high school and off to college at South Carolina State University, and then off to graduate school at Life University School of Chiropractic Medicine. And I've been practicing for about 30 plus years.
Okay.
Kind of started practicing semi-retired last year as I decided to run for office. And basically it. I'm a family man. I have 9 children,
Okay.
5 boys and 4 girls. And they all are doing pretty good. I'm excited for them. My youngest just graduated high school, and we're debating on where she's going to go to college. She wants to follow some of her friends.
All right.
And you know how that works out. So we're encouraging her to, take a closer look at all of the offers that she has, which she has quite a few. And that's basically me in a nutshell.
Okay, being that family man, how excited is your family of knowing that you're running for office of this position?
I start with the head of my family, my mother, who raised 5 of us as a single parent. And my stepfather was there later on. But, she's apprehensive because she sees all of the corruption and sometimes the abuse that you see in politics and all the name calling and negativity, but she knows my heart, and she knows that I'm here to help as many people as we can, as we've done during the pandemic, as we've done in practice. But it's just the children, they're excited but reserved because we ran last year for state senate, and we were polling fairly well, about 55%.
Yes, sir.
And then we had a larger candidate, a sitting congressman come down and start campaigning against us, and we lost that race. But we learned a lot as a result of that. And so my friends are somewhat, concerned. Everyone is cautiously concerned because this is a very serious position. This is a position that governs over 16 counties. Hundreds of thousands of people's lives are affected by the choices that we make. And so that's very important to me. And that is one of the main reasons I've chosen to run, because I know that we have an opportunity now to help as many people as possible. But we have experience and knowledge and a skill set that we believe the district can use. And so that's one of the main reasons that we're running, but the family support is there. And everyone just kind of waiting as we ramp up the campaign. They'll get involved like they did before.
Okay, for the viewing audience, you're running for the South Carolina 6th Congressional seat. And for our viewers, the cities that's involving: Charleston, Columbia, is that Atlanta?
Yeah, one of the smaller cities.
Okay, Lake City, North Charleston, and Orangeburg.
And then you have the counties of Jasper County,
Okay.
Hampton County, Allendale County, Bamberg County, Calhoun County, Sumter County, Florence County, Dorchester County, Clarendon County, Beaufort County. So you have 16 counties, and Richland County. 16 counties that this district encompasses. And with the new census, I'm told that the lines are going to change, and we may add another county. But I don't know what county we may lose, if any. So we won't know that until about September.
Now that's a big district, sir. And there's a lot of people that depends on that voice. So tell the viewing audience why Dr. Addison deserves their vote.
Well, I tell you why we deserve your vote. And we preface it this way. If you want someone who's going to be open and honest with you, then we deserve your vote. If you want someone who's going to be there for the district, not just in D.C., but for the district. We have 16 counties, a large area, and we have a ton of resources that are being underutilized or not being utilized at all. And so if we've done the research, we've been in practice for over 30 years, we know over half of everybody in the communities are their family members because we've seen them for so many decades. And being intimately involved in taking care of people's health, you begin to love your community because as a physician, that's the basis of our treatments, the love that we have for our patients. But in addition to that, understanding governing, running several businesses, I own about 7 different companies. And so understanding governing and management, this is what it takes to manage the district and manage our communities. But I think currently the district's not getting all of the look that it should. We have too many resources, as I stated, that are not being utilized and should be utilized. And so understanding that and doing the research necessary and watching what is happening in DC, watching and reviewing the filibuster, looking at the Voter Rights Act, looking at the changes in voting throughout the country, where some states are restricting people's access to voting, and some states are just taking a closer look because some feel that the election might have been taken from Donald Trump, or some everyone has their own different feelings. But a lot of the parties, in particular the Republican Party, is very fractured right now. It's very vulnerable and gullible. And like I tell people, the Republican Party, the Conservative Party didn't start with Donald Trump, and it's not going to end with Donald Trump. There's some good things on both sides that we have to look at. So we have to be open and look at the entire district as a unit, not just pockets of the district and working with people that we may know or have some familiarity with, but working with everyone throughout the district, listening to everyone. And that's what we have, an open door policy. And I think that is one of the main reasons you want to give us your vote. And it's time for change. It's time for change that you can believe in. It's time for change because I think it's unfair for us to ask our current congressman to continue to serve in the capacity after 30 years of good service to us. I think it's time for us to move the district in a different direction. I appreciate all the services that he's given to us, but I believe it's time for us to take it in a different direction.
And just like you said, the current congressman, he's been there since 1993. Now, we have to admit he's done a great job, but right now it's time for a change, and and you're the change. It's time to pass that baton.
I believe it is. And, we just celebrated his 81st birthday on Wednesday, July the 21st. And I am so grateful that we have had him here for us. He's the first person to hold this congressional seat from 1993. It seems as if it was created for him. But now it's time for someone else to take it and take the steering wheel and move this district in a different direction with technology and the infrastructure changes that we need. We dreadfully need those in our community. Listen, we're talking about blockchain technology, cryptocurrency. We're talking about America has to reach out. South Carolina and South Carolinians, we have to reach out across the globe because other countries and other students are leaving our students behind because we are way behind in education. We're dreadfully behind in healthcare. I mean, we're the worst in the state. And we've been that way for 30 years. And now it's time for change. People want change. And I think what we've had has worked for then, but now it's time for something new and different with a new energy to move us in a different direction and start utilizing these resources that we have here in this district.
Now let's discuss some of the issues that I think some of the viewers may have that's going on in our state. Okay, this is division in our democracy. Seems like there's Republican and Democrat, and they can't seem to get along with each other when there's a vote. If the Democrats say one thing, the Republicans going against it just because the Democrat votes against. How do we solve that problem, and how do you help solve that problem?
You're talking about on a state level?
Well, state level as well. Yes, sir.
National level?
State. Yes, sir.
Well, let's look at people. You have two major parties, but in South Carolina, we have 8 political parties. So your two major parties being your Democratic Party and your Republican Party, I've supported both parties. There are things that the GOP do, especially from an economic and business perspective, that are good for my businesses. And if they're good for my businesses, I could help the community even more because of my independence as a private business owner. And there are things that the Democrats have done, especially when coming out with the up to $300 a month per child, the child tax credit. That's going to help some families. But those who make more, and they still need help. And so when we look at voting and issues, it's about compromising, of course. But my thing is, I don't want to be one of those guys that put party over principle, put party over the people. And I think that's what has happened. I think our established politicians are so locked into the establishment that they have really forgotten about us. The everyday person here, everyday people here that need their attention, not getting it. I've been around this district now for months. Over 2 years we've been working on this. And people are basically saying the same thing. I call, I can't get any help. I call, I can't get any help. Our community is still the same. We got the corridor of shame. Our school districts are in poor shape. And we're still bickering over little things. But I believe we need to empower the people locally. And when we empower the people locally, then we can send people to the State House. We can send people to the governor's house. We can send people to Congress and Senate because we are registered voters and we're exercising our right to vote. And I tell people, no matter what voter suppression laws are passed, go vote. No matter how they try to stop you from voting, go vote. It's a fundamental right that all of us have. And you have to exercise it. You'll be amazed how many black men tell me my vote don't count. There's such a small percentage of black men voting, especially in our district, Congressional District 6. I want to change that. We are changing that because we have on our platform things that concern black men too. Things like child support reform. One of the things that we're working on as we go around and ask men about it is basically the same thing. They are saying it needs to be reformed. And as we look into it closer, it really does. It's an archaic system. It's outdated. And it does not build a community. It doesn't build a family structure. Therefore, it doesn't build a community structure. So that's a system that we have to work on and revamp. Prison reform. A lot of us have been under the tutelage of the prison system, and we have to work on it and reform it. I know it from firsthand. When I took a stance to support the Million Man March back in the 90s, I got arrested like almost 14 times in 1 month. Just for little things like sitting in my car in my parking lot with the car running without a seatbelt on, being given a seatbelt ticket. And so just little things that people do, what we call guerrilla warfare,
yes, sir,
to try to throw you off of your mission. But we can't let that stop us from exercising our right to vote. No matter what oppression is out there, no matter what blocks are in your way, step over them, walk around them. You must exercise your right to vote. I encourage black women to encourage their young boys at age 17 to get registered and start exercising their rights to vote. Encourage black men that their votes do count, but they got to exercise it. You can't lose the game if you're not playing. You got to get in the game. And we know it's not fair, but whoever said it was going to be fair? But look at those who took the fire, waters and the dog bites and the baton hits across the head to give us this right. We owe it to our ancestors. We owe it to our grandparents, our forefathers and mothers that came before us and paved the way. My children didn't grow up seeing racism like I saw it. When I was about 10 or 11 years old, 2 white guys tried to kill me by shooting me in the forehead, but the bullet just grazed my forehead, and my aunt, Dorothy Bishop, she rescued me. and she came out to protect me. I had no idea what was going on. In Hartsville, South Carolina, a very small community, we were raised with white kids, black kids, all of us together. But at some point in time, you experience things that as a child you don't even know. But God got me past that. And I said, man, I'm going to study. I'm going to learn everything I can because I know education unlocked a lot of doors. And that's another thing in this district. Our children are dropping out of school. We have the highest dropout rate in the state. We can fix that, though. We can literally fix that. But we got to be a part of it. And I think our current leadership is so detached and so disconnected from the people, especially the youth, that they don't hear them. They don't hear them and they don't even see them. No matter how much you give them, they need to be a part of something that they could wrap their arms around, wrap their minds around. And we believe we can reach the children and get them involved because they are our future leaders. As I get older, I want to be able to go to a younger doctor who could help take care of me, or a younger psychiatrist who could listen to my ills, and talk about things that I'm experiencing. I want to see our kids get into the trades like plumbing, electrical, mechanical, like air quality control. And these are the type of businesses that we work in now that we try to teach others to do the same. So you're absolutely right. We have a lot of things going on, and we have to work on both sides of the aisle. But I don't think we have to compromise our principles to get a vote.
So how do we look for Dr. Addison? Because I'm saying, until the Republican that's in that seat and the Democrat in that seat can compromise to help the people, I think they have to work among each other because it seems like they're competing against each other and not for the people. You know what I'm saying? It's like the Republicans don't like what the Democrats says because they're Democrats.
Yeah, it's interesting. There are some Republicans in this state who are my friends.
Yes, sir.
And associates, acquaintances. And they want to say every Democrat is a communist. I'm like, seriously, dude, it's not that serious. It's not that bad. The thing is, people are not communicating.
Correct.
That's the bottom line. People are not communicating. And because we're not communicating, we just start making up crazy ideologies about each other. And none of it is really true. As I sit and talk with conservative Republicans, as I talk with progressive Democrats, 9 out of 10 things we talk about, we all have in common. Mm-hmm. It's just 1 or 2 things that we differ on. And it's like, I look at it this way. We both want to eat, but I want steak and you want shrimp. But we still both want to eat. Yes, sir. And so look at the appetite of the Democrats and look at the appetite of the Republicans. But I think these other 6 parties that are in South Carolina, I think they should become more vocal and active as well. Because I don't think we should just be a 2-party state. I think we should have multiple parties like we do, but I think they should be active and get involved. And currently, I don't see them.
Another big issue we have in our state is crime. How do we solve this crime issue that we have? And then also the issue about the crime that's being done to our blacks.
When you said crime done to our blacks, you're talking about black on black crime?
Well, we have black on black, and then we have blacks being done by the officers.
By police officers?
Correct. We have that as well.
Mm-hmm. One of the first things I would do to help curtail the crime is I would legalize marijuana. I would decriminalize it and legalize marijuana because there are some senseless crimes that are there due to marijuana possession, the little monies that people make selling marijuana. Why not make it legal and let people open up legitimate businesses? That'll curtail a lot of the crime. And retroactively let people out of prison who's there due to marijuana. Because over half of our inmates are probably there on marijuana charges. We could eliminate that. Now, if you got a pound of weed and I got a pound of weed, what we robbing each other for? That's like going to your house stealing your bread and mayonnaise. We don't need that. You got yours and I got mine. And I think we've put so much emphasis onto this marijuana thing until it's causing a lot of crime. Because a lot of the young fellas shooting and gunning down each other, this black on black crime. A lot of these kids are out here in situations trying to make some money. They're already entrepreneurs and they don't even know it. They already set up shop. They got the distribution centers in places. And I'm like, dude, why don't you take that same system and make it a legitimate business? But no one's talking to them. A lot of us are afraid of our children and the young people, but not me. I'm not scared of them. I love these kids. A lot of them I treated when they were first born. I treated in the sports medicine program. I see these young people, and a lot of them support me because they know I'm the guy that will come to the game, hang out. Come on, you're just another little kid. I know your mama and your daddy. I know your grandparents. We all went to church or school together. You might have some ideologies about things affecting you, and we need to talk about it. You might need to seek counsel. A lot of our young boys out there are so alone and so afraid. They're so depressed. And when a person gets that scared, they become criminals, either out of fear or desire. Desire to have something that someone else has, or fear of losing what they got, or in particular their lives. I talk to so many young kids that carry guns, and I ask them why. They say because everybody else has guns, and no one else wants to fight anymore. Everyone wants to strap up and shoot. And I think Hollywood and our music industry has a lot to do with that as well. And we need to take a closer look at what we're putting out there and allowing it to come back into our communities. But as far as police officers and the crime on blacks with police officers kill more white people than they do black people unarmed. But the percentage is higher because of the number of blacks in this country. I think what we need to do, we need to focus on police reform, in particular qualified immunity. This is where my opponent, the current congressman, we differ. I don't think police officers should have qualified immunity. But let me say this first. I think all police officers should have a major raise. I don't think we pay the police officers enough money for the role that we ask them to serve in our communities. I think the base pay for police officers in South Carolina should start at $60,000. Then we should get better qualified candidates to be our police officers, not just some guy off the street because he want to put on a uniform and carry a gun. That's not a good candidate. It's about serving the community. And I think our police officers should have psychological evaluations on an annual basis because it's a stressful job. Look at our military. We put our military men and women out there. They don't have qualified immunity. They can't just go out and randomly shoot up another country of people. They'll go to jail. They'll be court-martialed. But yet our police officers want the same military gear, military tactical training, but not held to the same standard as the military. So I think our police officers should be held to the same standard as our military. I think we should train them properly, but I also think they should get a pay raise. They should have psych evaluations. And if you're a young white cop raised in a white community, never been around black people, and then you're going to get hired to come serve the black community without proper training and psychological evaluation, I don't think he's qualified. And it's the same if it was a young black cop who never been around white folk. He got to go in the white community to serve, but yet he doesn't understand their culture, doesn't understand the essence of their culture. He's not going to be a good fit for that position. So we just can't keep hiring people because they put in an application without properly scrutinizing them. I don't think the prosecutors should have qualified immunity, and I don't think the judges should have it either. In this country, prosecutors oftentimes go in, well, not oftentimes, but sometimes go in and lie to the grand juries. I think if a prosecutor is going to a grand jury, the person that they're going to speak on behalf of, I think that person should have legal representation in that grand jury booth as well, to hear what's being said, to be able to report to the courts when that prosecutor is lying. Because oftentimes they lie and put up false information and skirt the law. Look at the Bill Cosby situation. Cosby should have never been tried according to the law. I'm not talking about his guilt or innocence. That's not what we're here to discuss. But I'm talking about they had a thing on file where, hey, this is the terms that we're going by. So you could testify freely in a civil trial. Well, they told him he other than that, he would have never waived his Fifth Amendment right to self-incrimination. But they lied to him, or they changed it. And the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania said you can't do that. That's wrong. And I think that prosecutor who did that should be sanctioned. He should be held accountable because he knows the law. He knew the precedent, but yet he chose to violate it. So see, we have to look at everything in this country because it can come right back and affect us, from voter suppression to police brutality. And we have to praise those officers who do such a good job in our communities because we need them in our communities. I'm not about defunding the police. I want to give them more money. I want a pay raise because I can only imagine what a mother, a wife, and the children go through knowing their daddy may not make it back home. And he's only making $28,000 a year. I just don't think that's enough. And one of the first things I would want to do is raise the pay and get better training for them. But training to teach them to serve and protect, not just teach them to kill and how to get over being killed, but killing someone, taking a life. Because I know it must hurt them when they do that. And I think when they have those type of shootings and killings by the police officers, those officers need to go through counseling immediately.
Okay, we recently just went through another president. We have another president right now, but the past president, he went through a push of trying to make it feel like one race was better than another race. And now, how do we get the country back to the feeling whereas we are one country, whereas there's no race better than the next race, and we should be equal and, you know what I'm saying, be working together instead of separately?
Well, we're referencing Donald Trump. You know, you look at Bush Jr. That were there before Obama. You know, if you go back and look, there was division then. And then when you look at how Bush got elected against Al Gore, the hanging Chad in Florida. Remember that? But the Democrats, even though a lot of us disagreed with the results of that election, we didn't go storm the Capitol. You see, we are a community of civility. We have civil laws. Everyone has to follow them. No matter what you think your position is, you have a set of laws you have to go by. Now, as far as the protests on January the 6th, I'm all for it.